My name is Hannah, and this is my no-buy year. The less I buy, the less I want. It's been over 6 months now since I purchased any new makeup, skincare, clothing, or homewares, with the exception of a few staple items that I have repurchased when I've run out of absolutely everything in their category. But for the most part, I haven't been shopping. I haven't been buying anything that's new to me, anything that I didn't have before. And halfway through the year, I got the urge to drastically declutter and simplify. I recently got rid of pretty much half my closet, and I decided to go through and be just as ruthless with my makeup and my skincare. Now, there is a bit of a catch. Because it's my no-buy year and my rules state that I am allowed to replenish a category of item when I have used up everything in that category, I can't throw away or pass on, I can't declutter any item and then finish everything else in that category and then repurchase something new. So essentially, if I were to declutter a body lotion and then later I ran out of body lotion and I repurchased a body lotion during my no-buy year, that would be breaking the rules, because there would be one body lotion that I had that I hadn't used up. Instead, I had just thrown it away or given it away. I'm not allowed to do that. But I did have the desire to go through and kind of purge my collection and simplify my collection. I wanted certain items out of my collection, things I'm not using anymore, things I don't love, things that don't spark joy. So here's what I decided to do. I'm decluttering into this box, this shoe box. And I'm going to stash this box somewhere in my closet and keep it until the end of my no-buy year. Every time I run out of a category of something, so for example, I'm decluttering some eyeliners. If I run completely out of eyeliner and I'm about to purchase a new one, I will have to check this box. And even though I don't like the eyeliners that I'm decluttering, if there are eyeliners in here, I'll have to take them out and use them up before I can repurchase eyeliner during my no-buy year. There are certain products, like lip products for example, that I might pass on to friends or family because I know that I'm not going to use up all of my lip products. So I know I'm not running the risk of breaking my no-buy rules with certain of these items, and with those items I might go ahead and permanently pass them along even though the year is not out yet. With other items, I'm probably going to have to keep them around just in case. You get the idea. Let's get into the meat of the video. I'm going to start with makeup, and then I'll move on to a few skincare and body care items at the end. I have put them roughly into categories. I'm going to start with eyeshadow. Here on top I have this Wet n Wild palette, which wasn't actually in my eyeshadow collection video because it was a birthday gift from a wonderful friend. And here's what happened. I barely reached for this. It is called Nude Awakening, and it's just very, very neutral, and I have so many of these shadows elsewhere in my collection in formulas that I prefer. Even though I like the Wet n Wild formula a lot, I think it's incredibly impressive, I still find that the shimmers in this palette, which are kind of light champagne-y peachy shimmers and a bronzy one, I have other shimmers and other formulas that I truly love, like the Colourpop formula, in these same shades, and those Colourpop ones just perform better than this, even though this is a really, really good buy. If you're looking for an inexpensive drugstore palette in these colors, I would not say not to buy this. Anyway, when I was considering decluttering it, I tried to depot one of these, the one here on top, because the shades in the middle are things that I have lots of dupes for, but the two transition shades are cool toned taupey gray type of situations. This was a lighter cool toned taupe, and this is kind of like a darker cool toned gray, and I didn't want to let those go, so I tried to depot that one and it totally shattered and I just gave up, and I'm gonna pass the rest on to a friend without trying to depot that one on the bottom, because I know that the same thing will just happen. I have successfully depotted Wet n Wild palettes, little ones like this, before, but for some reason this one, maybe because of the shape of the palettes, it was weaker and it broke and it's lost. I was so curious about these Wet n Wild shadows, and I'm really grateful that I got the chance to play around with this one because now I have more information about it. This one in particular is just not worth keeping in my collection, especially with the broken pan. And to be honest, it's partly the shape. It's like the shape of the palette and the packaging. Packaging, as you will probably see over the course of this video, has such a huge bearing for me on whether I love a thing in my collection, whether it sparks joy. I loved the original Wet n Wild pans. I loved these 8 beautiful, symmetrical rectangles with rounded corners, and I love how the pans seem slightly puffy and then they have the letters indented on top of them like letterpress. I just am in love with this layout, and if Wet n Wild had retained this layout for this, I would probably not be decluttering it. But they changed the formula, not for the better in my opinion. They changed the layout, definitely not for the better in my opinion, and I just don't love this item, so it's gotta go. In the same birthday gift, I received these Wet n Wild potted glitters, and these have very mixed reviews on YouTube. Some people really love them for some reason. Some people say that they're basically just like glitter suspended in Vaseline and they're incredibly difficult to work with, and that is what I found to be true. I, again, was so grateful to have the chance to mess around with these. I played with them on several occasions during several different makeup playtimes. I really enjoyed it, and they're just not stable enough for me to wear in any kind of look that I'm gonna wear out of the house. They just slide all over the place and they're slimy and they don't set. And if I didn't have the Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow, like if I didn't have an incredibly stable and useful and versatile glitter eyeshadow formula, I would probably keep these because they're shiny and they're glittery and they're pretty. But I do have those Stilas and I don't need these, so they're going into the box. This is my 35O. I talked about it in Wednesday's video. If you haven't seen that one, if you go and watch it, you will be able to see where many of these shadows ended up. I took to this with my depotting tool the other night, and I got most of the shadows that I wanted out successfully. It was really exciting. The rest of the ones that are left in here, I don't particularly want. And I just had gotten to a point where I realized that there were a handful of shadows in the 35O that I really wanted to use on a daily basis, but I was never reaching for this hulking thing. It was already kind of broken. It's in the very, very back of my palette storage, and when I would look at it, it would be hard for me to remember which were the shadows that I had swatched and that had performed gorgeously, because there are 35 of them and they look pretty much the same as each other. And eyeshadow is falling everywhere. Anyway, I started playing around with it the other night and I realized that there are a number of shades that were in the 35O palette that are unique to my collection that I don't have dupes of, and that's why I didn't want to get rid of the 35O, or rather I wanted to get rid of it. Like, I didn't want it anymore. I don't like it. I don't like the object of the palette, but there were shades in there that I didn't want to get rid of because they were unique to my collection and I was really craving starting to use them. In fact, the entire eye look that I have on today is made from cool taupes and bronzes that I pulled out of the 35O. So depotting was the perfect solution, and I managed to get most of the shadows out. I think that the glue was warm because it's been so hot in LA, and I'm really, really pleased to be decluttering this ugly thing from my collection. And I'm also really, really pleased to have basically brought those beautiful shadows that I want to use more into the light, and they're close at hand, and I actually shopped my stash for some of them in Wednesday's video, and I'm going to be using them assiduously over the coming weeks, and I will absolutely let you know how it goes. Okay, moving on to cheek products. There are a bunch of them. On top, I have this gorgeous and nearly pristine NARS blush. This is in the color Amour, and it's pink. It's just pinky pink, 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 and I don't like the color. I remember when I bought it, it was on one of those shopping trips to Sephora where I wanted to want something and I didn't want anything. I had been wandering the store for half an hour. I wanted to buy something because I wanted to feel happy, but that only works when you actually want stuff. And I couldn't find anything that gave me that excited feeling. And so I kind of talked myself into this. I was like, I need a blush. I need a pink blush. I like NARS. Buying this will make me feel that satisfied feeling that you get when you buy a thing you wanted. I've never really reached for this. I don't like how it looks on me, and it's a stark reminder of how misguided of a shopper I was in a way. Not that all of my shopping decisions were bad. Most of them weren't bad in that way, but it's just a reminder of how messed up my relationship with makeup was and my relationship with shopping was before I started this project. So I don't want it around because I don't want to use it because I don't like the color, and I don't want it around because it reminds me of the fact that I bought it even though I don't like the color. I will probably pass it along because there's no way I'm running out of blush this year, and it's in great shape, and I have a friend who I think will really enjoy using it. The infamous Sleek Solstice palette. These are pretty highlighters and they're very, very shiny. YouTube made me buy it and I got some good use out of it back when I didn't have very many highlighters. But now that I have a bunch of highlighters, I can see how cheap this is when I put it on my face. It's one of those highlighters that has a lot of silver reflect in it. And when I turn my face to a certain angle, it kind of looks gray on my cheeks. I just haven't been reaching for it. I have so many highlighters. It doesn't exactly spark joy anymore. It's going into the box. The same is true of this Pixie collaboration with Aspen Novard. When I got it, I was really excited. It was getting a lot of hype. YouTube made me buy it. It's very, very pale color, so I thought it would be good for my very, very pale skin. But again, as pale as it is, it's got kind of that silver reflect in it. It's like a really harsh reflect that's not glowy, but rather metallic. And I never reach for it because I know it's going to give me that kind of gray sheen. And again, I've got highlighters coming on my ears, so I've been reaching for every other highlighter in my collection before I've reached for this one. It's going into the box. I have a different but related issue with the famous Essence Pure Nude highlighter. YouTube made me buy this as well. Obviously, it's raved about all over YouTube as being a very subtle but very glowy highlighter. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful. But as you can see actually in the swatch, it's more tan than my skin tone. Because it has the word nude in the title and because it has the kind of rosy beigey color, I was envisioning it as a really neutral highlight on me. I was envisioning that it would really melt into my skin and be subtle and glowy because that's what everyone says that it is. And I think that if you have a medium or tan skin color, then it probably is that way on you. It's like the same as your skin, but glowy. But on me, it's a color. For the most part, I prefer a sheer highlighter, like one that doesn't show as a color on my skin. It's dark on me. I know that sounds super weird, but it's true. And I had stopped reaching for it because I had a number of experiences trying it out and having it not perform in the way that I wanted it to. And again, I have so many highlighters in my collection, I don't need one that I don't love. So it's going into the box. This is the Colourpop bronzer. It's called California Dreamin'. I believe it's their lightest bronzer, and that was why I got it. I was like, I need more bronzers than I have, and I need the Colourpop bronzer, so I will automatically buy the lightest shade. Click. It's kind of orange on me, it's kind of dark on me. I tend to have better luck with neutral blush tones as bronzer on me because no matter how much sun I get, I never turn this color. I never turn that color. I just have plenty of bronzy type products. I never ever reach for this. It's going in the box. More highlighters. This business. Does anyone remember this business? It was the Colourpop Amber collection. And I actually really love the color of this. It is sort of an orangey, peachy, intense highlight with a slight iridescence. It's like the intentional version of the Essence Pure Nude. It's the same peachy tone as this, but it looks really intentional and stunning, actually. I really love the way that this looks. It's also tenacious. It stays on all day. But there's something wrong with the formula in this bottle. When you pump it out, just water comes out, like shiny water. And when you open it and stir it around, you see that there's all of this gloopy, muddy muck, like sediment that has settled at the bottom. And that is the highlight. So you see that? See how it's like goopy? So that kind of moussey, goopy consistency is the consistency that I believe this product is supposed to have, but there's no way to get it to come out of the pump at that consistency. Even if you stir it and shake it, the pump still just spurts out oil, like shiny oil. So it's not worth it. It's not worth the mess. It's not worth digging into it and unscrewing it. I don't need a highlighter that is a hot mess when I have so many highlighters that perform like so many dreams. So it's going into the box. The Glossier Haloscope, I love how it looks more than almost any highlighter I've ever tried, but it doesn't dry down. It stays sticky on the face all day like Vaseline. I absolutely cannot stand that. I never use it. It's going into the box. L'Oreal True Match Lumi in the color Ice Glacé. It's for cool undertone, which might be the problem because I don't have a cool undertone. I have a pretty neutral to warm undertone. And this really does look icy on my skin. It looks like 1990s frosty. I also didn't really love the texture of this product. I found it to be a bit moussey, and it would dry down to sort of a film rather than melting into the skin, and that would cause it to potentially get a little bit patchy depending on what it was layering over. This product just didn't perform well for me. I never reached for it. It's going into the box. This is my last cheek product. I guess it's a multi-purpose product. It's the Benefit Benetint tint for lips, cheeks, and lips. It's a lip and cheek tint. Now, this is a bit of a nostalgic product for me because it was one of the only makeup products that I had when I first started using makeup in college, essentially. I didn't really use makeup before college, but about halfway through my college career, I started learning about makeup and wearing makeup, and I absolutely loved this product. I wore it every day. It was my signature look. Red pinched looking cheeks, stained red looking lips, very kind of, I just ate a popsicle, I just worked up a sweat. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I got this in a set of 3 minis and I gave 2 of the other ones away to my cousins, and I kept this one because I thought I might get into it again, and I just never did. It's not what it used to be to me. I've moved on. I never use it. It's going into the box. It's a cute product though. It's a nice product, especially for the youthful crowd. I'm not against it. I just don't want it anymore. I have 2 little powders. One is this by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder sample, and the reason that I am decluttering this is twofold. One is that this container has gotten so nasty. I don't know what the lid is made out of, but it's attracted all of this goop and goo and hair, and I can't clean it. I cleaned it with like a household cleaner, like an orange cleaner spray, really effective, that cleans everything, and it just made it sticky and it's disgusting, and I almost never reach for it because to open it I have to touch that and then it's on my hands and I'm still doing my makeup, and I don't want that nasty stuff on my fingers while I'm doing my makeup. I'm not usually a neat freak or a clean freak in this way, but this has gotten to the point where it kind of grosses me out. Secondly, the powder is just okay. I don't use powder almost ever, like really, really ever. I've had this for over a year and I have used it quite a bit, but I've barely made a dent. I have very dry skin and I never powder. This is like hyaluronic powder. It's supposed to have hyaluronic acid in it and moisturize your skin. But I've heard in a couple of places that putting hyaluronic acid into a powder like this on your skin can actually draw moisture out of your skin, because that's what hyaluronic acid does. It attracts moisture. So putting it into a serum and putting it into your skin is a good idea because it will retain moisture by pulling it into your skin. But putting it in a powder and putting the powder on top of your skin is a bad idea, because then it will be in contact with your skin, but the hyaluronic acid molecules are thirsty and they will pull the water out of your skin. So that kind of scares me, and I don't want to use this anymore for both of those reasons. It's going into the box. Also going into the box is this Makeup Forever HD loose powder. And you may remember that I panned and completely finished up the pressed powder version of this. This is a sample. I also had a sample of the pressed powder, and I really, really liked the pressed powder. But the loose powder darkens my product. So if I use concealer in my under eye area, for example, and then I set it, even with the tiniest bit of this, it oxidizes it. It goes down a couple of shades, and I can't have that. I need all of the brightening that I can get from my products, and my concealing products are barely light enough for me as it is. It's hard enough for me to make my face as light as my neck as it is. The last thing I need is a powder that's going to undo all of the work that I just did on brightening and evening out the skin on my face. So this is one of the things I'm gonna have to hang on to through to the end of the year, because I don't have that much powder, and there is a tiny chance that I could use up all my powder. And if I do, I'll have to make do with this before buying anything new. Same is true of the By Terry one. But I hope that that doesn't happen. I hope I can last the year with the powders that I already have, and that this can stay permanently decluttered, because I don't like it. Oh, I forgot one highlighter, this Tarte Pro Glow little tube. I did shop my stash for this once, and I used it once and I hated it. It's in the color Rose Gold, and it's dark on me, and it's ugly. I just think it's not a good product. It's going into the box. I should be more specific. It has a similar problem to the Lumi, True Match Lumi Illumin Nudie. The True Match Lumi Liquid Glow. It's like moussey, and it kind of creates a layer, and if you buff it out any more than that moussiness, it just turns into sheer glitter. And it's not really a nice glitter. It's like just a plain silver glitter. It's not a sophisticated glitter to me. I just thought it looked horrible on me, and I have no interest in ever using it again. I actually have more eye products. I did eyeshadows, but then I have these kind of liquid and stick eye products that I'm going to go through really quick. The Milk Makeup Eye Pigment in the shade Silent Disco. I know there are a lot of people who love this, but I tend to see them loving on the lighter colors, like the rose gold, the champagne, and I could imagine really loving this product in a lighter color. In this super dark color, it's very, very hard to control. It's hard to control the blend. It's hard to get an even blend on both eyes, and it's hard to keep it from becoming patchy. I have never had luck with this, and I'm just ready for it to be gone from my collection, so it's going into the box. Similar problem, unfortunately, with this gorgeous thing, and I say that it's gorgeous because the shimmery pale version of this that I have, I absolutely adore. And this is the Giorgio Armani Eye Tint, and I would love to have this in a number of the sparkly colors. I love the sparkly version of this product. It's like a sparkly sheer lid topper or all over lid shade. The glitter is very sophisticated. When I say sophisticated glitter, that is what I'm talking about. But this darker color, this darker matte color, it does blend out pretty well. It's just really, really hard to control the blend evenly on both sides. And maybe this is an issue of my skill level. Maybe if I were better at makeup, I wouldn't have such a hard time with this product. But every time I try to use this, I put it into the crease, I start blending it out either with my fingers or with a brush, and it ends up looking just how I want it on one side, and then on the other side, I can't get it to look the same way that it does on the first side. I love the color and I love the way it looks blended out. I love everything about it except for the performance, just in terms of getting it onto the eye and making it work. I would like to try harder, but honestly, I don't reach for it because it's a crapshoot every time. And it's really hard to fix because once it sets, it is set. And that's another thing that makes it a well-performing product, is that it sets down really well and then it stays. But if you can't get it to look the same on both eyes and then it sets, it's like I have to start all over again, taking off all of my eye makeup with Bioderma. And then my eyes are kind of rubbed raw because this is harder to get off than a powder product. I've just stopped trying and I've stopped reaching for it. And unfortunately, even though it was so expensive and it's so beautiful, it's going into the box. I have two eyeliners that I am decluttering for two very different reasons. One is the Colourpop eyeliner in the shade Swerve, and I'm decluttering this because it's just trash. It's just trash. Look at that. It's like, okay, so yeah, it's breaking. It's not dark black at all. It's not creamy. It's like a weird gray that it's really hard to get any pigment out of. This is one of those eyeliners that if I apply it to my waterline, absolutely nothing comes off. I have a theory that the Colourpop eyeliners are prone to drying out before they even arrive in your order and therefore performing badly like this one does. Because the reviews are so mixed. So many people I've seen on YouTube saying that these are great, and I know that a great eyeshadow formula can seem like trash if it happens to have gotten dried out. It happened to me recently with that little Marc Jacobs highliner that I had. I know that the highliner performs gorgeously because I've had a couple of full-sized ones, but the mini that I got as a point perk, it just arrived dried out and it wouldn't perform. Maybe this is a really bad product, or maybe that is what happened to it. Either way, I can't use it and it's going into the box. This, on the other hand, is a gorgeous black eyeliner. This is the Ardency In Modster. Look at that! Look at that difference. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's everything that you would want from an eyeliner. It's delicious, it's slippery, it's gooey, but it stays in place like nothing else. It's super dark black. It's unbelievable, and it irritates my eyes. It makes them water. I've gotten this far. I mean, this was a full-size product, and I've used up this much of it before I've been willing to admit that every time I put it on my waterline, one or both of my eyes start watering relentlessly, and it's kind of a day ruiner. Because if I've gone in with this dark black liner, I've put on a look. I don't use this dark black of a liner for a casual daytime look. I use it for photo shoots, I use it for going out at night, and those are the times when I particularly don't want my eyes to start watering. This causes them to do that, and so it's going into the box. Alright, moving on to lip products, and there are a bunch of them, so I'm just gonna barrel through. This is a super old NARS product. I'm not even sure what this product was called, and it doesn't say it on the sticker, but it's a very liquidy stain. And this is one of those idiot things that why did I buy this? Here's why. Again, it was a nostalgia thing. I had picked out this in an unbelievably beautiful red color that was called Indian Red, problematically, back when I was in college, and that was my go-to lip. It was stunning. It was a watery stain. Maybe that's what they were called, NARS watery stain. I can't remember. I loved that product so much. It was really fluid, it was really staining, it dried down to an incredibly thin. In fact, it was very similar to the Power Matte lip pigments. It just wasn't quite as matte and quite as drying as those. But the Power Matte lip pigments, I think, are like the new generation of whatever this was. Anyway, I loved that product, the House Down Boots. I went through it, like I used it up, and then a couple of years ago, I was like, where is that NARS product? And I started searching and searching, and I realized that I didn't have it anymore, that I had thrown it away or lost it or something. And then this desperate need gripped me. I was like, I need to have that back. and NARS had discontinued it. It wasn't available anywhere. So what did I do? I scoured eBay and I found someone who was selling it. Who knows how old it was? Supposedly it was unopened. Who knows? It was in the box, but it was eBay. And it's not even the color. It's not even Indian red. I couldn't find that color. It's another red, a slightly darker and more blue toned red. And I bought it, and I actually think it was like expensive. I think it was marked up from what it had originally cost because it was discontinued. It was just one of those things. I was gripped by this obsessive need to find it and have it again in my collection, even though I had so many other red lipsticks and so many other beautiful products. The fact that I remembered loving it so much and I remembered the joy that it had brought me made me crazy to have it again, or something like it, something nasty that was kind of like it. And I made this incredibly unwise purchase. What is that? Why couldn't I just remember it with joy and let it go? Anyway, I never reach for this. I'm sure that it's years and years past its expiration date and it's going into the box. I was such an idiot. This is a Colourpop gloss in the color Dropout. It's a dark color and it just kind of reads patchy on me. It never looks as good as I thought it would. I stopped reaching for it. It's going into the box. Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit in Nudist Peach. I absolutely love this color. I saw it on Jessica Braun in a video, and it was one of those situations where I looked in the down bar and I immediately went and bought it because of how good it looked on her. She wasn't even talking about it. She was just wearing it. But the formula, ugh, it's patchy, can't get an even coat, makes my lips really dry. I've worn it once or twice, never again. It's going into the box. This is the Marc Jacobs Enamored High Shine Gloss in Sugar Sugar. This is a very, very recent Sephora Point Perk or Code Perk or something. I had always wanted to try this and it looks absolutely horrendous on me. It's like concealer lips on me. It looks super weird. I tried it on one time and it's still in pristine condition, so I feel like I can easily pass it along to a friend. Just no on this one, an absolute no. Speaking of the NARS Power Matte Lip Pigments, which everyone loves, it seems. I've heard people talking about them a lot. This was a little deluxe sample size that I got last year. It's in Star Woman. It's a beautiful red. I love how it applies. I love how it stains the lips. I love how it dries down. I love the applicator. I just love this formula for the same reason that I loved the old one, the one that I think this is an updated version of. I like that really thin liquidy stain, but I don't like how this wears. I wore this recently to a tango event, an all-night thing, kind of to check and see if it was worth keeping. And I found that the color applied kind of dark. It was like I had to do 1 or 2 coats to get it even, and then it looked really, really quite dark. And because it dried down to a matte finish, then it was hard for me to blot. It was hard for me to get it to look how I wanted it to color-wise. But then also, by the end of the night, it had all worn away in the inner rim of my lips, and I hadn't even been eating or drinking anything. I just have other lip products that perform better in every way, from the color to the formula. So this one's going into the box. This is a Lipstick Queen lipstick in the shade Goodbye. It's a sheer berry colored thing, and similar to the Colourpop gloss in the dark color, it just doesn't look that good on me. It's hard for it to look like an even application. I really like the idea of this, especially when I lived in wintry climates. It was a really nice winter lip. But it always looked not quite right on me. It always looked a little messy and a little patchy for some reason. And I just haven't reached for it in months and months. And I realized that I don't actually like this kind of product, like a sheer vampy color. It doesn't work for me. And so I'm decluttering everything that kind of falls into that category. And this is one of them. Here's another one of them. This is a little deluxe sample size of the Givenchy product. It's the Givenchy Rouge Interdit Vinyl Lipstick, but it's like a color changing one. It's very similar to the Lipstick Queen product, similar color, similar effect, and looks bad on me for the same reason. It's going into the box. Clinique Super Balm in Black Honey. Same situation. Oh gosh. Ew, I tried to swatch it and all that came out was like a clear liquid. It's totally separated in there. All the more reason for it to go into the box. However, I have this version of Black Honey, which is kind of like the balm version. You can see that it looks similar to those top two that I was getting rid of. But the reason I'm getting rid of this is because I have two of them. This was a deluxe sample size and I have the full size product. So I don't need two. That's why this is going into the box. The reason that it looks better on me than the other two is that the balm is just a little bit more tenacious. It sticks to my lips, it nourishes my lips, it's even in tone, and it's also a little bit rustier rather than being kind of a blue purple like these other two are. I really, really like that product. I just don't need two. I have this unopened deluxe sample size of Sephora Rouge Cream in the color called The Red. I just have no desire to open this box and even sample this product because I have so many red lipsticks, and these little mini bullet lipsticks tend to be kind of a pain to use. I don't like almost any of the ones that I've had because they wiggle around and they become kind of nasty pretty quickly. I just don't want that. Goodbye. This is a lipstick that I loved for a really long time. It's NARS Niagara. It's beautiful, beautiful pink, corally pink. It's in the old NARS lipstick formula. It's pretty old. It was one of my earliest real lipsticks. That's part of why it's going into the box. But the thing that sent me over the edge when I was trying to decide about this is that my one NARS lipstick that's in the new formula is Catherine, NARS Audacious, and the colors are just very similar. So that's Niagara right there, and that's Catherine. Catherine is a little bit more on the guava side, and I prefer the more guava as opposed to the more pink. So this one is newer, it's a better formula, and it's a better color. Therefore, this one is going into the box. Colourpop Crystal Lip Balm in Amber. This is a patchy and non-nourishing and unpleasant product, and I don't like the color either. I shopped my stash for it towards the beginning of the year. I tried it once and I've never worn it again. It's trash to me, and it's going into the box. Here's another Kjaer Weis product. I've been enjoying my one remaining Kjaer Weis blush a lot. If you watched my Shop My Stash on Wednesday, you will already know that. This is another thing that's been hanging around since back in the day. It's a lip product, and it's definitely past its prime. It's definitely turned. It's not good anymore. And the other thing is, Kjaer Weis doesn't make this product anymore. So I can't refill this compact because they don't make pans this shape, I don't think. I think that they started packaging their lip products in regular bullets rather than in little pans like this. So not only is the product itself no longer usable for me, but I can't even reuse the packaging, which was the original intent of this packaging. So I'm putting it all into the box. Buxom Full-On Lip Polish in Dolly. I shopped my stash for this a couple of months ago and I just didn't like how it looked. It was something about the color, maybe it was the formula. Every time I put it on, it just didn't look good. The color wasn't flattering and it looked kind of messy on me. It's also just this annoying little sample size. Don't want it, don't need it, going in the box. A blister pack of the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Mask. I have a full size of the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Mask. I really don't want to have this kicking around in my collection, and I'm sure that I have friends who would like to try it out, so it's going into the box. That's all the makeup. Oh no, it's not. Dip Brow. This is definitely gonna have to stay in the box because my only other eyebrow coloring products besides the dye that I use on almost a monthly basis are two Broken Brow Wizzes. These are lasting. They're lasting pretty long. I don't know how long they're gonna hold out, but given that I dye my brows every once in a while, and after I dye them, I don't need to fill them in for a couple of weeks, then I just start filling them in as the dye fades. I feel like I'm making those brow wizzes last and last and last as long as I can. And when I do fill them in, I don't do like a full-on drawn-on brow. I just kind of fill them in where they are sparse. So those two Brow Wiz crayons might last the year, and that would be amazing because I really don't want to have to use this dip brow because it is in the wrong color. It's the color chocolate and it's too warm for me. I know that I have reddish hair, but it just looks wrong on me, and if I do have to start using it, I'll definitely be mixing it with eyeshadows to get the right color, but I'm hoping that that day never comes and that it will just stay in the box until the end of December of 2018, and after that I will permanently declutter it. I'm decluttering a brush. I don't have that many brushes compared to a lot of YouTubers, and I glanced over them and this was the only one that I was like, I never use that, because it's for, I think it's for contouring like that, and that's something that I don't do, so it's never been used and it's going into the box. That was all of the makeup and makeup tools, and I just have a few remaining products. They are body care and skincare items. The first is body care. It's the Glossier Body Hero moisturizer or something. Daily Perfecting Cream. I didn't think it was called a moisturizer because I don't think this really moisturizes. It's basically a big bottle of silicone. If you have used this and it didn't go wrong in the way I'm about to describe, please tell me what your secret is, because I do like how it smells and I like the idea of it, but it is a hot mess of a product. The first time I used it, it was new, I was so excited, I got out of the shower, I dried it off, and you all know I don't really like lotion, so it was a big deal. I was like, I'm gonna like this lotion because it's by Glossier. I took a squirt of it and I, you know, started rubbing it in all over my body, and it seemed like it was going pretty well. And then just a minute later, I ran my hand over my chest and it was like pilling gel. It was so nasty. It pilled in the worst way. The way that an ill-performing face primer pills, something that's too silicone-y and isn't balancing well with whatever skincare you have on underneath. Or sometimes when you put a foundation over a primer and it starts picking up and pilling. If you've had that happen, you know how kind of skin crawly and weird it is. It was that all over my body. There's just too much silicone in this. I think that they missed the mark with this product. I've loved a lot of things from Glossier, so I'm not panning the brand altogether, but this, I'm kind of afraid to try it again. I did go back and use it in very small amounts on my legs a couple of times, and it was fine. It's almost like it worked on my legs weirdly, but there was something about putting it on my chest and arms that caused it to do that pilling. But I absolutely do not trust this product. It is going into the box, and there is a chance that I won't run out of moisturizer for the whole year, and if that happens, I will then pass this on. I have a couple of face masks. This Boscia black mask. Is there anything even in this? Yeah, there's probably one use left in this. It's obviously old and I've obviously used it before. It's really dark and sticky, and you put a layer on your face and then it dries and then you peel it off. My impression is that most of what it does is remove peach fuzz from your face, and then your face feels really smooth because you don't have any peach fuzz left. I just didn't feel any skincare benefits from this. I used it once or twice when I first got it, and I don't want to use it anymore, so it's going into the box. This is the Peter Thomas Roth 14 karat gold mask. It came in like a 6-pack of mini Peter Thomas Roth masks that I got around the holidays one year, last year, the year before. And I used up all the other ones, and I just don't like this one because it feels like it does nothing. My impression is that it's a mild gel with a bunch of ground up gold and other shimmery stuff in it to make your skin kind of shimmery during and directly after use. I just don't feel or see any skincare benefits from this, and I know that there aren't really skincare benefits to the use of gold. Sometimes things have gold in them, but then they also do other stuff. But whenever I use this, I feel like I'm just putting a nothing gel onto my face and then washing it off. I feel like it does absolutely nothing. So I'm not that enthusiastic about using it anymore, and therefore it is going into the box. This is the carbonated bubble clay mask that I think has gotten a relative lot of attention. It's kind of a mud mask type of thing, but as soon as you put it on your face, it starts to foam and bubble up. Two things. One, I feel like it's kind of gimmicky, and I'm always wary of gimmicky skincare because why? And I don't remember this doing anything great for my skin. I don't remember it having an effect on my skin other than the feeling of using it and the excitement of using it and having it be all bubbly, but that's not good enough for me. And the fact that I don't remember is kind of case in point. That's the other problem with this. It's pretty old. It's like gotten to the point where I don't know if it's bad or not. I don't know if it's expired. I don't trust it because of the gimmick. I don't trust it because of its age. And I also don't like the idea of a product that is activated when it's exposed to like air and water. It's kind of a paste when it's in here, and then you take it out, and as soon as you start putting it on your face, it bubbles. So that makes me feel like every time I open it and air touches it, it's being activated and changed. And that makes me feel like it's something that would go bad quickly, and it's had more than ample time to go bad if it was going to go bad. I just feel like I'm never going to reach for this ever again, and for those reasons it's going into the box. I have two products here from The Ordinary. One is the alpha lipoic acid, which is just an intense acid treatment, once a week type of thing. And when I used this, I had a reaction. I had a bad skin reaction. My skin doesn't usually react badly to acids. I use a lot of acids, I layer acids, and my skin's pretty hardy when it comes to acids. So I was just like, ooh, another acid to try. I think I heard Wayne Goss talking about this. He was like, it's a miracle product. And so I got it. It kind of gave me like a rashy, bumpy situation. So I used it the one time, my skin hated it, and I never want to use it again. And for that reason, it's clearly going into the box. Some of you have asked me about things like that on my no-buy year. Like if I have a skincare product that's breaking me out or something that I have a rash or reaction to, do I need to use it up before I can buy something to replace it? And the answer, even though it wasn't very clearly written into my rules, the answer is no. And luckily for me with this was just a single experiment, and I'm not planning to replace this category. Everything else I have is working just fine. So I don't have to worry about it with this product. But if I were to run into that situation, like if I got a new night cream and it was my only night cream and it was giving my skin a really bad reaction, I wouldn't feel like I was breaking my no-buy if I gave it away and replaced it with something else. Because my feeling is that if it's doing that, it's not actually skincare. It's just a substance that you have that's supposed to do something and is not doing the thing it's supposed to do, and it's actively harming you. I would never suffer through something that was giving me breakouts just to use it up. Because honestly, I would rather go without a moisturizer than use a moisturizer that breaks me out. So I'm never gonna keep using something that's doing bad things to my skin. I hope that answers your questions. I know that some of you have been like, what would you do if X? And so this is part of that answer. This is going straight into the box. But I would feel totally okay just going ahead and getting rid of this, partly because I'm not going to replace it, but also because it gave me a rash. Like, come on. Goodbye. The other product from The Ordinary that's going into the box is the Agriline Solution 10%. And this is another thing that it was the only thing in its category, and I'm not going to replace it. I don't feel like I need this category in my skincare. Agriline Solution is supposed to be like liquid Botox, like you put it on the parts of your face that are developing deep wrinkles, and supposedly it kind of freezes the muscles a little bit on the surface and keeps them from being so active during the day, and therefore it keeps the wrinkles from developing. And I do kind of think it might work a little bit. I was using it on my forehead on these like lateral lines, and I did notice on some days when I used it that my forehead would seem really smooth. You can see I used almost half the bottle. I was using it for weeks and weeks when I first got it, and then I started getting all these little bumps on my forehead, like little closed comedones. I'm sure that this is what was causing it. It was the only thing in my skincare routine that could possibly have been causing it, and that part of my face was the only place in which I was putting this product. So I just immediately stopped using it. After a couple of weeks, the little bumps went away, and I'm never going to use up the rest of the bottle because I don't want those little bumps to come back. So Agrelin solution is not for me, and it's going in to the box. That is it. That is my declutter into a box. Here's the box. It's pretty full. So I'm going to go through that box and pull out things that I know that I can safely get rid of, things that belong to categories that I'm absolutely confident I will not drain during my no-buy year. So I know that I won't be replacing any products of that nature, and those I feel like I can give away to friends already. The rest of the things will stay in the box until the end of the no-buy year, after which they will move on to someone else's collection. As you know, I've been rereading Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and one of the concepts that really stuck with me this time was the concept of your drawers being 90% full. So they're full enough that they feel full, but they're not so stuffed full, they're not 100% full, so that everything's packed in there. And that idea has really, really helped me. It's helped me have a vision of the state that I am straining towards in my makeup collection. I think parts of my collection are kind of there right now. So here's my acrylic drawer in which I keep lip gloss, and you can see that it is kind of maybe 95% full. Like I could probably fit 2 or 3 more glosses in here. So it could maybe stand to lose like, no, maybe 1 more. Like I could stand to use 1 more. So when I finish up this Colourpop gloss, which I probably will this year, then I feel like this drawer will be 90% full. And obviously that's relative to the kind of storage system that I have, and that doesn't mean that I'll never have fewer or more lip glosses than that. It just gives me a goal to feel good about, and I feel motivated to finish up another 5% of my lip products and maybe one day declutter another eyeshadow palette or 2 to get my makeup storage down to that state of being just 90% full rather than 100% stuffed. And who knows, my collection might shrink even more than that. But right now, that click point, that 90% feeling is the goal, and I'm much, much closer to that point now that I have decluttered all of these products into this box. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.